Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am very excited to have my next guest on the show. We connected a couple of weeks back. She is amazing. She's doing amazing work out there, not just for the general population, but this applies to you, the first responder. She's going to talk about law of attraction and vibration and all those things that some of us don't believe in, but they are very true and they can change your life. My friend Goldyn Duffy is on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I just like saying your name, Goldyn Duffy. Goldyn Duffy. GG.
I'll have people say, you have like a famous name. I'm like, exactly.
You know what I'm thinking, Goldyn? I think you need to come out with your own brand.
Yeah.
And just, well, that's Gucci though.
That's Gucci. All right.
GG.
We need to brainstorm.
Yeah, we'll brainstorm. Oh, GD. You can do that. You could have it on a belt buckle or something like that. I was thinking what does your grandkid call you? GG,
I think you called me Gigi. Yeah. Gigi is my grandbaby's name.
Oh, that's Gucci. You can't use Gucci.
Because I'm the golden granny. That's why.
But you might get sued if you use Gucci.
Yeah.
GG.
True.
So tell, we just had a great conversation. I wish
a good start.
I wish I would have recorded it. Now tell us, tell the audience, Goldyn, a little bit about your background and how you got involved in this really transformative, life-changing work that you do for so many people out there. How did you get into it?
It's actually really surprising because I was never a science kid. Science would put me to sleep in school. I am not a math person. I loved school. I loved English. I love writing. I've actually written 2 books and it makes sense because I really love the written word and I love expressing the written word. But as I was growing up, science was not something I ever paid attention to. However, I was always a spiritual seeker. I think probably my husband and I have been together since like middle school. We connected in middle school.
That's amazing. Congrats. No, that's congrats. You don't see a lot of that these days. You don't see it.
And it's not easy, but I will say it's like the richest, deepest thing you can do if you can really stick with a person. But I grew together, and a lot of the things that we've done, the crazy things that we've done together as a team. And even a lot of the stuff that we went through that was traumatic, financial struggles, all of that stuff, we were able to navigate it as a team and not kind of turn against each other, which I think does happen for a lot of marriages, you know?
Well,
we got together during high school and had some children very early. I had my first baby at 19. I had my second baby at 20. And then we waited 8 years and had 2 more. So we have 4 daughters. And through the course of our life, what's that?
4 weddings. Ching, ching.
4 weddings. I know everybody says that. And we've navigated the first wedding and we did help pay for it, but she paid for a lot of it. So
That's
I feel
awesome.
like the wedding thing is kind of changing where
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I was thinking
it's fine.
4 wedding. Go ahead. Continue.
Every nurse in the hospital pretty much said that to us. But then there was this one nurse after I had my 4th daughter, and she said, you guys will always be taken care of because that's what daughters do. And I was like, thank you for saying something positive. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're amazing. They've all grown into incredible young women. But through the course of our lives, like we did not grow up in money. We definitely, made our own way. My husband started doing construction. He actually went to carpentry school. Both of us never went to college. I went to college. I graduated pregnant, never did anything with my degree. And he went to carpentry school, like a night school. He found out he had a really amazing gift. He's a craftsman. And he started working for a gentleman. And for a long time, he was doing that. And we were kind of living paycheck to paycheck, you know? You got the kids, you got the house. We didn't even own a house for a really long time. And then he branched out on his own and started killing it. That's amazing. In the height of the market, it was like he was doing $3 million in business and really, really good at his craft. And he was working for a lot of people who were flipping houses. So a lot of wealthy people who were flipping. Well, when that 2008, 2009 thing hit, it wiped us out because people just stopped. They just stopped. A lot of them lost the houses they were looking to flip. And we got left holding probably $100,000 in debt. ended up having to file bankruptcy, ended up in foreclosure, and cars repossessed, you know, all that good stuff. And I will honestly say, like, when we were making all of that money, we bought a home that was way over market, you know, because the whole subprime thing was so crazy.
Sure.
We paid like $450,000 for a $200,000 house. It was a beautiful home. I thought it would be my forever home. You know, it was this 5-bedroom, had a pool. I felt like God had answered every prayer I ever had, plus, you know, like I didn't even ask for a pool or a hot tub, and I got both of those things. So we raised our family there, and it was a beautiful time in our life. We were actually raising the girls in a Catholic church, and we were really close to the people in the church. I think that's when I started to kind of open up my channel, because I started doing guided meditations, and I started realizing that I could speak in front of people, even though that was kind of scary. I became like president of the Women's Guild.
Wow.
So even though I was just a mom, which is what I would call myself, I definitely had avenues where I was using my gifts.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's amazing. And so what, because, you know, your story, which is amazing, but going through the tough times, you know, financial devastation, for lack of a better word, you know, being in that spot where it's extremely stressful, you know, marriages, I mean, Goldyn, most marriages fail because of financial issues. Totally. What was the thing that, or aspect, you know, that kept you going? Did you fall back on spirituality? How did you get out from that rut? Like so many people out there, you are unique because you got out of it, and most people stay in it. Yeah. You know, and it's like a hamster wheel. It's, you know, rinse and repeat kind of thing. So what are some of the tips that you could give people that got you out of that?
Well, and it's kind of cool because we went through it twice, and I watched the energy both times and how we did it. So the first time, I've never seen my husband so depressed in my whole life. He had 10 guys that worked for him for 10 years that we had to lay off. And that was the hardest thing I think he's ever had to do. And every one of those guys, including people we had been best friends with since high school, said, we got your back. We're going to get through this together. We're going to figure it out. And they ended up starting a company without him. And he owed them like $1,000 each. And they pretty much wrote him off because of that. It's crazy. And there was one guy who actually rehired him, and he ended up marrying my daughter. So funny. Wow. These stories.
Isn't that weird how world works out? And
so wild. Yeah. And he ended up hiring my husband back. So my husband was so disenchanted with the building industry. And I feel like he lost his zest for life. And it was really a scary time. I remember thinking, I have to do something. And what was I going to do? Go get a job for $10 an hour? You know, I had done a lot of waitressing, like serving. I was working in bars, not a good atmosphere for a mom.
No.
Whatsoever.
No, it's never. I mean, and I have nothing against bars, but I get what you're saying. I mean, you're an attractive woman. Like, you're in a
lot of responsibilities, right? You have a lot of responsibilities, and there's alcohol, and you're like, holy crap, I can escape from this. So we had tried that when the girls were younger, and decided I was not going to do that anymore.
That's good.
So we actually found a network marketing company. It was called, so a friend of mine had told me, she said, hey, there's this guy in my networking group, and he says you can make money doing this thing. So we were desperate. I'm like, what is it? Tell me what it is. I'll do it. So it is called Send Out Cards. And it's basically an online greeting card and gifting company where you can send real greeting cards and gifts from your computer. And I was like, that's cool. You can make money doing that. Like, I'll use it for Christmas. I send out a couple hundred Christmas cards. I'll use it for Christmas. But there's a whole industry of people who actually like to send out cards. And in marketing and in business, to show appreciation for your customers.
Sure.
There's a book out by Joe Girard, and he was the top salesman in the Guinness Book of World Records in selling cars because he sent his clients thank you cards throughout the year so that he became their salesman. They never went to anybody else because he established a relationship. Yeah. My husband started using it in his business, which started to improve his business. And I started sharing it, and we had a big network because we went to church. People loved us. We did a lot of good things for people. We were volunteers. One guy said we dug our well. We basically dug our well. So people would do this for us. It was $400 to sign up for this program, and you would get a card for less than $1. people signed up just to help us out, just because they knew
That's
we were
amazing.
struggling. Yeah. So it really saved our life. And the CEO of that company, Cody Bateman, is the one who introduced, I had already heard about The Secret, but he had introduced law of attraction in a whole different level to us. Like, what you send out is what you get back. And when you're in gratitude and appreciation for your life, you'll get more of it. And we saw that. And I think that what that company did, we're not with them anymore. We do actually still get an income. We there was a team, there was hope, there was passion. There was something that I could get up in the morning when I feel like I felt like I couldn't breathe every day because they were turning off our electricity, or there were so many things that we had to get through. And that literally gave us hope. Like, we were at a convention and they were repossessing Michael's truck. And I was like, okay, whatever.
But isn't it, and it's amazing. I mean, the grit and determination and the mindset that you have to get through those. Obviously, you and your husband are flourishing now and you got through that, but life is not a single man sport or woman sport. It's a team sport. Yeah. And I remember, hearing, a long time ago that, you need people in your life to help you get out of those ruts that everybody faces, and the right people. Right. The right people. Right. And I remember going through serious, problems. And, I remember hearing as a kid, Goldyn, that, God, because I grew up Catholic. I'm Catholic, so I remember my mom used to say, look, God never gives you so much that you can't handle. He gives you enough to test you. Yep. And you're going to get through it as long as you believe and put in the work. I think so many people out there, to your point, you guys put in the work. You became, ferocious with, maybe that's a good word. Driven. Yeah. And so many people these days, I think, I don't care if you're a cop or whatever, they want shit just dropped in your lap because we live in that society where, okay, I want instant gratification. Yeah. I'm a big believer, like you said, in law of attraction, manifestation. We talked about visualization. Yep. But it's not going to happen on its own. You have to put in the work, and there's practice. Yeah. That goes into that, right? I mean, so tell us how you mentioned The Secret, a great book, great movie. Yep. Yep. I do think The Secret did a little bit of a disservice because they kind of showed that guy sitting in his house and a sports car showing up in his driveway. Yeah, so some of that stuff. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of law of attraction teachers out there that go, just be happy. And this is what stalled our progress for a while. We were listening to law of attraction. We were pretending to be happy. We were going for walks. We were trying. And underneath it all, our life was crumbling and we were living in terror and fear. And we weren't dealing with it. We weren't talking about it. We were like, okay, we're in denial. Your underlying feelings about things is what actually creates. Yeah. Absolutely. So when you have a really strong emotion about something, that's a trigger and that lives inside of you. And whatever just happened to you is what's triggering that and allowing you to actually heal it. Now, most people will think, oh, I lost control. I'm not in control of who I am and I'm a bad person. Yeah. And it's like, no, you're not. Because we haven't been taught that our emotions are cool, first of all. No. Like, we haven't been taught that our emotions are good and that they're an indicator and a guide to the life that we really want to live. Like, if you deal with your anger, if you deal with your emotions, I think even in the fields that you're talking about, a lot of these guys and women have been living lives of repressed emotion, and I think anytime in any industry, when you have things, my throat is clearing, a lot of times that's energy clearing. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's weird. Energy will clear for other people, for me. And when you have these repressed emotions, they show up in really funky ways. And then there's judgments made about you. And it's not necessarily fair because we've never been taught. Yeah. We've never been taught how to deal with our emotional field or how to deal with triggered emotions and things like that. So especially if you've lived a lot of trauma, a lot of people have grown up in a lot of trauma. Yeah, so absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, I work with first responders, you know that, and
Yeah.
veterans, but it not just, look, we're not some exclusive group or anything like that. We're people just like everybody else. And
Yep.
everybody is suffering out there. Everybody has baggage. Yeah, everybody's dealing with something that
Everybody.
you don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is dealing with stuff out there. And I love how you talk about, visualization,
Mhm.
because visualization is powerful. People
Yeah.
don't understand, I don't think, or a lot of people don't understand how powerful visualization is. Anybody out there, Goldyn, what do Olympic athletes say most of the time when they get up on the podium? I
Yeah.
visualized myself being here. Tiger Woods wins another Masters. What is he, when he in his prime and his heyday?
Yeah.
I visualized myself putting on a green jacket.
Yeah.
Of course, the work has to be put in.
Yes.
But its visualization is powerful. You and I gave examples of
Yes.
cars.
Yes.
You got to put in the work.
Yep.
You got to, but I think once you get that vision in your head, putting in the work, your mind subconsciously is going to move in that direction.
It does. And what it does is it tunes you into the alignment with it. So it tunes you into the vibration of it.
Absolutely.
Now you can envision something. And the biggest thing about visioning, and if you've ever listened to Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks a lot about that. You have to get into the feeling state of it. So it's actually allowing yourself to feel that way. And the more you do it, the more you step into the identity of it. So when I was looking, I manifested a Mercedes. Now I paid for my Mercedes. So nobody gave me a free Mercedes.
Exactly. It's not like that, like you mentioned, that's a disservice with some of the stuff out there. It's just not going to show up.
Right. When you say, oh, I manifested a car. It's like, yeah, it would be great if somebody gave me a Mercedes, but I have a pretty hefty car payment every month that I have manifested the money every month to pay.
Exactly.
But what changed for me with the Mercedes is I realized, because I wanted a Mercedes for 7 years.
Yeah.
And what I realized was I was putting it out there. So a lot of times what we do with visioning is we put it out into the future. So we think, 5 years from now, I want to be living this. It's like, well, why would you put it so far out? So what I started doing was I started imagining the keys in my hand. I started seeing the keys in my hand. I started seeing myself, feeling it, started seeing myself behind the windshield instead of out here driving the car.
Yeah.
I also thought, okay, how would I feel if I was actually driving a Mercedes and I saw a Mercedes? I wouldn't be like, oh my God, there's my car. I'd be like, oh, there's another car like mine. So I changed the whole vibe of it. So not only did I envision it and feel it, I became it. And that's what identity creation is. It's like, whatever I want to do, what do I have to become to be closer to that?
Yes.
Because most people just hold themselves apart from it.
No. And I don't care if, yours was a Mercedes, mine was a car. This can go a promotion. It can go, anything, it help. You're in a bankruptcy. Okay. Visualizing. And let me again say, and Goldyn, putting in the work.
Yeah.
And, putting in the work. You mentioned gratitude.
Yes.
Earlier.
Yes.
Let me tell you, this is the honest to God truth. There's a day that doesn't go by where I get up before I even get up.
Yep. Same.
Goldyn, I am in bed.
Yes.
And I am going, I'm grateful, one, to be alive.
Yes.
I'm grateful for my health.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my family and my relationships and my beautiful kids and my new grandson. And notice all those things they're people. They're not things. Right. Yes, I'm grateful for my car and my apartment and money and stuff like that. Yeah. But nobody's going to the graveyard with a U-Haul behind them.
No.
So be grateful for the relationships that you have, because really, in the end, that's really what it boils down to. Nobody says at their deathbed, Goldyn, I should have worked another 10 hours this week at the job. Should have got that Golden American Express card or black or whatever the hell it's called.
Totally. And that's the secret sauce. And what you're doing is you're tuning yourself into a frequency before your feet hit the floor that will allow more things like appreciation to come to you. So more things that you appreciate. A lot of people will wake up first thing in the morning, and because we have 60,000 thoughts a day, they will pick up on the worries of yesterday, especially if they've been worried about something, woke up in the middle of the night, can't go back to sleep. So if there's a problem that they're focused on, The problem and the solution have different vibrations, but your mind will gravitate towards the problems. So what you're doing is you're training your mind first thing in the morning, and you're saying, oh, listen, we're going to go to gratitude first. And it sounds so hokey. It's like gratitude.
It does,
really?
but it works.
Right? It
works because you know what I learned as the older I got older, and the more I practiced this, Goldyn, is most of the shit, and yes, I said shit, most of the stuff I worried about either
never happened.
One, never came to fruition. And if they did, I built him up in my mind so big that when they happened, I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I'm not talking about a loss of a loved one or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the stuff that we worry about, you know, daily, you know, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. Oh, I'm going to do this. But again, I believe, without getting religious, I believe when God closes one door, one opens for you.
I think Mark Twain says 95% of the stuff we worry about never happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And worrying is like praying for what you don't want. That's another thing that I'm aware of. Worrying also is in the direction of what you don't want to create. And that's another thing that we've never been taught. We've always been taught to think about worst case scenarios so that we can be prepared. So mind training is a really interesting thing. Mind training probably has changed my entire life more than anything else I've ever done. And it starts with meditation, because meditation is something that gives you the space to have control over what's going on in your mind. Once you realize that what you're thinking about is at choice, that you have a choice, like let's say you're thinking, I can't believe this story is coming up. This is so ridiculous. But this is when I had like the most realization about this. So we had 2 cats and we got a 3rd cat. I have no idea why I felt like I needed a 3rd
You like cats. You're a cat woman.
Apparently, no, I'm really not. So the 3rd cat comes in. She's so cute, little Honey, and she was like a little orange cat. Well, Lulu, the queen of the crop, is bullying Honey. And I'm worried about this because Honey is starting to pee all over the house. And I do not like the smell of cat pee. So I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, I'm fretting. I'm literally fretting about the fact that this cat is peeing everywhere. And I think to myself, oh my goodness, I don't have to think about this right now.
Yes.
And I totally let it go. And we ended up actually we had to let go of the cat. We gave it to another home, which worked out fine. But this is what we do to ourselves. We try to think ourselves through a problem, and we can't do it because the problem and the solution are different energies, and we don't have enough information. So when a thing happens, like when a challenge happens, we have that moment right there. It is reaped in the problem. We need time for the energy to create solution for us and to be able to watch that energy to know where to go next. But we're always trying to figure it out ahead of time because our mind likes to do that. It likes to work on problems.
And it's amazing what you said. I mean, that is great information. And it got me back to what you said about feelings and emotions. Think about the last time you made a decision based off emotion. No, I'm serious. I'll use me as an example. The last time I made a decision off emotion was usually the bad decision.
Usually is. Usually always
is. So to your point, you know, you have to give that energy time to, settle in, you know, keep putting out that positive vibe, putting in the work, and usually a solution will present itself. Now, it might not be the solution you want. But it's a solution nonetheless. It often
goes in a different direction. And that's why trying to figure it out is really a waste of energy, because we can't fathom what the universe, God, source, whatever you like to call that, spiritual energy, what that has in store for us. And it's usually better than we could have expected, or better than we could have imagined.
Absolutely. And I always tell people, and it took me a long time to realize this, Goldyn, is that, look, we're here. I know everybody knows this. We're here for a finite period. We're not here forever. In reality, we're not here for a very long time. So why live your life pissed off, depressed? And I've been there. Like I said, I'm not some guru. I've been there. I'm at a point now in my life where I'm like, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to be happy. It's not, again, I live in a bubble. No, it's not that. but I choose
Yep.
to be happy. Look, we can't control a lot of stuff, most of the stuff that goes on in the daily
Yeah.
world, but we can control the 6 inches between our ears.
Yeah.
You can control your thoughts. Nobody's in
Totally.
control of your thoughts.
Yep.
You can control how you react, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you can control where you put your energy.
Yeah, your response is actually what conducts the next moment. And I think what's tripping a lot of people up right now, and especially in the industries that you speak, is we are way too much information. And we're taking in boatloads of information. And, through the last couple of years, I've had a lot of friends that have gotten themselves involved in different theories, different narratives and things like that. And they lose their minds, they lose their minds over it. They lose their sleep over it. They're like, it's going to be a food shortage. We're not going to have enough food. This is going to happen. And I'm like, why would you buy into a story that doesn't feel good? Because you're going to create that. So why not choose what information you allow in? Get rid of some of those people on your Facebook feed, turn off the news. I don't know why people, I'm serious. Like, I don't know why people feel like I have to be informed, because if we have seen anything in the last few years, especially in the industry that you're talking about, the news is not real. It's not giving you the real story. So we have to tune out of those things. As much as we feel like we want to be up to date on things, you need to trust that the universe is going to give you the information that you need to be in your highest and best. I just had a situation happen that kind of bowled me over. I was supposed to partner with somebody. I just found out that he has a really sordid past that he didn't share with me. And what I did with that information was I thought, okay, I have a choice. I can feel gullible and stupid and like I didn't research this person, or I can thank the universe for tipping me off before I got too far down this road.
Yeah. Well, you made a good point again. You're making all kinds of good points, Gigi. It's people, I think Jim Rohn is the one who said, the average of the 5 you associate with. Totally. So getting back to your point.
Yep.
The people that are constantly in, oh my God, food shortage and all this other stuff. And they're, everybody's invading us and all this other stuff. Who are they hanging out with?
Exactly.
Because misery loves company, right? So one of the things that I don't tell, but I, recommend, especially for cops.
Yeah.
Law enforcement is an inherent toxic environment. I'm not saying that because I don't like cops. I love cops. I was a cop, but it's an inherent toxic environment. It's a negative environment. People don't call us when everything's great. People call us when shit hits the fan. So we see about 10%, maybe 9% of the population that's calling when there's crime going on, stuff like that. So, I mean, we see them in their worst. So and that's part of our job. So we have a tendency, most of us have a tendency to become negative and cynical. I know, and I could speak for myself because I was there. My point in all that is you have to seek out the people that are bringing you up, the people that are lifting you up, not sugarcoating stuff, honest, good people in your world, because you are who you associate with. What do we tell our kids? You have kids. What did you tell your kids when they were growing up? Don't hang out with those kids. They're trouble.
Totally.
Right? No, I think that's so important. Like you said, get out of that Facebook group.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think protecting your field, if you are in that industry and you are surrounded by that for 8 to 10 hours a day, the rest of the hours of your day, you got to reset your alignment. You've got to, you got to put some things in your experience that are going to actually help you go, okay, the world is not the worst place in the world, and feeling like you're making a difference. I'm sure there's a lot of that going on where we're not feeling like we're making a difference where we actually are. And I think the appreciation for our first responders has been very much lost. And I really would love to see our world get back to, and I know there are a lot of people that do appreciate. I see signs. I live in Orange County. So, we love our guys here. We've got signs everywhere, and we've got our American flag out. And so, we as a society, I think, have to get just better about appreciating one another and what we go through in the world. Like, there is not one single police officer that I walk by that I do not thank, because
that's awesome.
Because honestly and truly, if you look at the end of the day of it all, the percentage of goodness in this world way outweighs the
Oh,
bad.
absolutely. And what I tell people, Goldyn, what I tell cops, again, I advise, not tell them to do it. I say, seek out people outside of law enforcement, establish those connections, establish those relationships, friend like, like you, Goldyn. I mean, to see the opposite side, because I agree with you 150%. The vast majority, 97% of people out there are good people.
Yes.
Are good people. We just deal with the little percentage. And it took me a long time to get to that point, but I couldn't agree with you more. The vast majority of people are good people. They have problems. They deal with stuff. So it's all about the energy you're putting out. It's all about, what you're putting out there. If you think the world is shit and think, well, guess what? That's what you're going to get. It's plain and simple. We're magnets, right?
Well, and if you can think about it like a big radio station, it's like, what frequency are you tuning in?
Absolutely.
Right. And you tune into gratitude first thing in the morning. That's the best thing you can do. And if something less than optimal happens, one of the things that I've gotten better and better and better at is looking at that thing and going, okay, what's the best case scenario that could happen with this? It's like, okay, this happened. Now, where can we go from it? What can we learn from it? And how can we process it so that it becomes a benefit? Because the first time we went through that financial stuff, I would say we did it probably in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
We shared our story on stage every week. Everyone loved that we were financially struggling. It gave them hope, right? They resonated. The second time we went through it was when we actually took this huge leap of faith and moved to California. We had $20,000 to our names, thought we were like good. Not so much. We had nothing. We had no beds. My husband didn't even have a truck. We had to come out here and buy a truck. We had no silverware. We had no towels. We had no saran wrap. So we had to literally like rebuild the house. The 20,000 goes like that. And then the rents here are pretty substantial. So that time, what we decided was, hey, we're living our dreams. I wake up in the morning, my bank account is negative. And I am not negative in this universe. Like I
love that.
I'm giving value. I'm loving people. I'm living my dream. I refuse to get kicked out of my apartment. I'm going to figure it out. And because of that, we never gave up. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I failed at that, but you can't fail if you don't give up. And one of our sayings is we've come too far to fail. Like we were never going back.
No, and I tell people that you're not defined by your failures in life. That's not who you are. I mean, it is if you want that to be, but you are not. We all fail.
Yeah,
we all fail. I mean, you're not defined. That's how we learn. You're not defined by your failures. But I think to your point, I think with a lot of people, Goldyn, they fail and they're like, well, shit, I'm not going to try anymore. I'm just a failure. And it's compounded by people they're surrounding themselves with.
Well, and they run away in shame. And a lot of people live from wounds, and those are childhood wounds that made them feel less than powerful. And I think, when a lot of times we get into trouble because we do have these wounds. So then we're trying to prove ourselves, and it's like, if we could just sit down, if we could like meditate and journal about how we're feeling, we could get this stuff out of our body. But trauma lives in our body. So if we don't release this stuff and deal with it and look at it head on, then it's going to show up in less than optimal experiences where we get ourselves in trouble because we blow our tops, right? Yeah.
Goldyn Duffy. So where can people, you're all over the place. You're doing a lot of work with a ton of people. Where can people find you, my friend? Gigi?
Oh, so I have a podcast. It's called The Manifest to Live Life Goldyn. That's on
I want to come on your show.
Yeah. Yeah, I want you to come on my show.
I want to live like Goldyn, like Gigi.
Yes, like Gigi. I'm totally having you on my show. And I don't really have people on my show. The only people who have been on my show are my family members. So you might be my brother now.
All right.
But yeah, I would love. Yeah, we have good conversation. This is great. So that's on every form. I'm also on YouTube. And for the last 10 years, I've said I'm a YouTube sensation and I have 120 subscribers. So could use some help.
But you got 121 right now.
There you go. See?
You're amazing. You got a website out there. What's it called?
That's www.liveLifeGoldyn.com. I have 2 books out, Quantum Speak and Quantum Speak for Parents on Amazon. Grab it now because it's going to have a new title. I don't know what it's going to be. We're doing a whole revamp of the books. And
revamps are good.
Yeah. And I have a creators program going on right now. That's for people who want to write books or create a business. I know how to do a lot of things, and I
Well,
want to help.
that's why you're
people.
Goldyn.
You know, the thing is like, this is, I was a stay-at-home mom for like 25 years. I completely lost myself. I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I started to identify as a network marketer, realized that I really didn't want to be a network marketer,
Yeah.
but I got put on stage and I was like, wow, when I'm on stage, people listen to me.
Well, that is a gift. And you know this, Goldyn, because you're a speaker. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people don't, not that they're bad people. I'm not trying to imply that. It's just because they have this fear, and it is fear. It is very
they say
fearful.
it's next to death. In fact,
Yeah.
I think it's stronger than death. I think the fear is stronger than death.
But once you get past that, and
Yeah.
once you start doing it more, and I tell people who want to speak, go join Toastmasters or something like that, and learn
Absolutely.
how to get in front of people, because it will change your life for the better.
It
You know,
does.
once you start getting up there, and it's, again, you have to constantly work on it. You know, you have
well,
to
and everyone has gifts and everyone has stories. That's part of the creators program. Everyone has a story that's valuable to somebody else who's coming through it. So I think one of the things that people get attracted to me about is, you know, I can speak to financial struggle in a way that makes people go, oh, wait, she was like really in dire straits and she came out of it.
Because you're humble and you're transparent, and people connect through stories.
Totally.
The one thing I learned a long time ago is like, if you and I met each other on the street, and I heard this before, if you and I met each other on the street, Goldyn, you said, hey, Patrick, how you doing? And I was like, I'm great. I'm awesome. Life is great. And I'm all giddy and stuff. You'd look at me. Most people would look at me like I had a second head. They're like, okay, what's wrong with him? Is he eating medication?
He's too happy.
But if you come to me and say, hey, Patrick, how's it going? And I say, oh, my life sucks. And, you know, I'm just down at the dumps. And then you say, oh, I get it. I know. Isn't it amazing how we connect through pain?
Isn't it? It's crazy, but it's true.
But it's true.
No, it's totally true.
But we don't have to live in pain.
No.
We don't have to live in pain. You can mitigate it with people like you in their life, and reading your stuff and reading your work.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You're
Thank
awesome.
You. Thank
and
you.
Everything we talk about is going to be in the show notes.